You are standing under hot water, eyes closed, doing nothing. And then it happens. The argument from 3 days ago, the one you thought you were over. It plays back in your head like a film you did not choose to watch. Except this time, you know exactly what to say. This time, you have the perfect response. This time, you win. Then the water goes cold. You snap back, and you realize you have been standing there rehearsing a conversation that already ended 3 days ago. You are not alone, and you are not weird. What just happened inside your skull is one of the most revealing things your brain does. And once you understand why it happens, you will never look at your shower the same way again. Your brain has two modes. The first is task mode. This is the state your brain enters when the outside world demands your attention. Reading, driving, working, having a conversation. When you are in task mode, a network of brain regions called the central executive network takes the wheel. It is focused, directed, and locked onto whatever is in front of you. The second mode is what neuroscientists call the default mode network. And for a long time, scientists thought it was doing nothing. When brain imaging technology became sophisticated enough to watch the brain in real time, researchers expected to see activity drop when people were not doing anything. They expected the brain to go quiet during rest. Instead, they found the opposite. The moment people stopped focusing on external tasks, a specific and consistent network of brain regions lit up intensely. The brain was not resting. It was switching to a different kind of work entirely. Neuroscientist Marcus Reichel, who first mapped the default mode network in detail in the early 2000s, described it as the brain's baseline state. Not a passive state, an active one. A state the brain returns to the moment it is no longer needed elsewhere. And what does the default mode network actually do? It processes the social world. It replays past experiences. It simulates future scenarios. It models other people's minds, predicts their behavior, and runs through social situations that feel unresolved or threatening. It is, in the most literal sense, your brain's social processing engine, and it has been waiting all day for a quiet moment to run. The shower is that moment. Think about what the shower actually is from your brain's perspective. No screen, no inputs, no one talking to you, no decision to make. Your hands are busy, but your mind is not required. For most people in the modern world, the shower is one of the only times in the entire day when the external environment makes zero cognitive demands. The central executive network stands down, and the default mode network, which has been suppressed all day by the constant stream of tasks and inputs and notifications, finally gets its window. It immediately goes to work on whatever is most socially unresolved. And here is why that is almost always an argument. Your brain does not treat social conflict the way you consciously think about it. You might tell yourself the argument is over, that you have moved on, that it does not matter. But your brain is running a completely separate evaluation underneath your conscious awareness, and it is asking a very different question. Not, is this resolved? But, am I safe? Psychologist Roy Baumeister has spent decades researching what he calls the negativity bias, the well-documented tendency of the human brain to weight negative social information far more heavily than positive. A compliment registers, an insult lodges, and a conflict, particularly one where you felt you came out worse, does not simply close when the conversation ends. It stays open in the brain's threat monitoring system as an unresolved file. Because for most of human evolutionary history, losing a social conflict was not just uncomfortable, it had consequences. Lower status in the group meant less access to food, shelter, mates, and protection. A conflict left unresolved could escalate. An enemy left unaddressed could become dangerous. The brains that took social threats seriously and kept processing it until it was resolved were the brains that survived. Your brain never stopped treating it that way. So when the default mode network gets its quiet window in the shower and starts scanning for unresolved social threats, it finds the argument. And it does exactly what it evolved to do. It runs the simulation again. It replays the exchange. It tests alternative responses. It models what the other person might say. It rehearses the version where you come out intact. This is not rumination. Or at least, it is not only rumination. It is threat rehearsal. It is your brain doing its job. preparing you for a conflict that, in the ancestral environment, might not actually be over. The problem is the mismatch. The argument you had 3 days ago with a colleague over a spreadsheet is not a survival the matrave.